Today is Tuesday, February 4th, 2025, and I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. Work is ongoing at the acute referral hospital in Arnosvale, with contractors, including workers from Guatemala, making significant progress. During a site tour by Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves and other government officials today, project manager Cecil Harris reported that the works are on schedule.
So the government has assembled a project coordination team, and the project coordination team has me as the manager, and along with me several technical persons. It would be other engineers, social safeguards persons, and accountants as well. This team will be monitoring progress, we'll be monitoring quality, we'll be monitoring cost, and we'll be monitoring schedules. And at this point in time, we are on schedule, and we have no doubt that going forward, the project will be completed with a reasonable cost, on schedule.
According to Harris, in addition to the physical work taking place on site, a lot of logistical efforts are being carried out to ensure the project's smooth progress. He noted that while the physical work is advancing at a steady pace, the behind-the-scenes operations are equally crucial for maintaining the timeline.
The site has been cleared. You see these huge mounds of topsoil material because we had to take off the topsoil material. We had to stockpile it because it's going to be reused for landscaping. Then we've commenced excavation. We've excavated close to 30 foundations. We have several hundred more to go, but you have to start somewhere. We've excavated the car park. We have set up the concrete batch plant. We are now going through a process of approving various equipment submittals and material submittals that the contractor has forwarded to us for approval. So for example, the medical gas system, the AC system, all these systems have to be supplied according to the specifications of the contract. And so they have had now to go and source these various equipment, submit it to us for us to approve that yes, it meets the specifications, you could go ahead and order. So we're up to now submittal maybe almost close to 40.
The total cost of the hospital project amounts to $78 million US. It is expected to be completed within 32 months. Liaison officer attached to the Ministry of Urban Development, Abdon White, says recovery efforts in the southern Grenadines 7 months after the passage of Hurricane Beryl have been progressing well. Speaking on the Voices program with Jomo Thomas last evening, White provided an update on the ongoing recovery work in the islands. He shared that significant progress has been made in terms of clearing debris, repairing infrastructure, and restoring vital services to the affected communities.
I think the recovery is going well. The approach has been so far to start work on the island. So for example, as it relates to electricity, the work started on Canawan first, and then they progressed to Myro, and then they progressed to Union Island, which was the hardest hit. That would have needed a lot more manpower. So, as I said, the recovery effort, I think it is going good. It has gone great for Canawan. It has gone great for Myro, and I would rate Union as good. I think in the housing aspect of it, I really thought that by now we would have.
While Canawan has not yet reached the 100% mark on the reconstruction scale, White confirmed that the island has been cleared and is now ready to start accepting tourist vessels. This is a critical step in the recovery process, as tourism is a key economic driver for the southern Grenadines.
Now, the most important thing is the reconstruction, and that part, it's pretty much we're almost back to 100% in Canawan. Myro, we have a few buildings remaining. And on Union Island, we still have some ways to go on. So Canawan is pretty much back on track. Tourism, I noticed a few mega yachts in the harbor and a few other yachts. I know some work is supposed to start on the marina very soon because that area was also damaged. Well, I know, work had been done on Salt Whistle Bay, and just last week, all the galvanized, all the rubble, they were compacted and they were brought over to Union Island. And we're going to try to see how we could use them or recycle them or repurpose them for something or the other. If not, we may have to ship them over. The only thing is that the badge left about 3 weeks ago, and it's a very expensive feed, so I don't think it would be back.
White also noted that while recovery is underway across all affected islands, Union Island, which bore the brunt of the hurricane's damage, is receiving the most attention at this stage to ensure that the island can fully recover and be fully operational for residents and visitors alike.
Union Island, we starting this year, the majority of the team from Canada, they came over, and they really been ramping up things, especially on the Ashton side. So work has been going on. We have our little challenges. So far, we have over 300 connections. Vinlec would have made over 300 connections, and persons are being connected to the grid daily. There's less dependency on government assistance. Let's put it this way. Some businesses have gotten assistance in terms of materials to rebuild their businesses. We have also provided during the course of the time, whether it's generator power, so some of the supermarkets could open back.
Despite the progress made, White emphasized that there are still some challenges, particularly in terms of restoring full infrastructure and services on some of the islands. The Ministry of Urban Development, Energy, Seaport, Grenadines and Local Government has decided to extend the Hurricane Barrel Transportation Initiative for the Southern Grenadines. Leandra John, a representative of the ministry, spoke on behalf of the minister during an interview with SVG-TV News. John confirmed that the initiative would continue until early April to facilitate the free transportation of relief supplies, including building materials, to the Southern Grenadines.
The reason for the continuation was more so to continue the aid for persons who would not be able to have the amount of funds to be able to send stuff down to the Grenadines. So if, let's say, you have a bunch of building materials and you basically spent money on your building materials and you're not too certain how you're going to get your stuff down, that was the aid for.
Okay, and how long would it be lasting?
From my knowledge, it ends in April.
John also reminded the public of the guidelines and rules that should be followed when traveling or sending cargo to the Southern Grenadines. She emphasized that boat passes are still required for both passengers and cargo.
The Ministry of Urban Development has a charter with Bequia Express, which allows the transportation of both cargo and passengers on those days. On Thursdays, Bequia Express do their own regular operations where they take items down to the Grenadines, but it has a cost on Thursdays. So on Monday and Wednesday, persons would come with the items they're hoping to send down, and they would come downstairs the Terminal Ferry building right off the Southern Grenadines Wharf to collect a pass, whether it be for passengers or cargo. For cargo, we normally ask the persons how many items they're sending down, the name of the person who they're sending it to, and which island it's going to. And for passengers, it's normally we ask the name of the persons or persons traveling and their purpose of traveling and which island they're going to.
On Friday, the 31st January 2025, the Ministry of Agriculture distributed the second batch of 4,000 chickens, a contribution from the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, ICA. The distribution is part of a collaborative initiative led by the Zero Hunger Trust Fund, the SVG-TF, in partnership with the Ministry of Agriculture and the Farmer Support Company, the FSC. Following the distribution of 3,500 chickens the previous week, the SVG-TF Chief Executive Officer, Safia Hornbeek, expressed optimism, highlighting the positive response thus far. The CEO confirmed that additional chickens are expected to be made available for distribution soon as part of the ongoing national food security drive.
As you see here, we have quite a crowd. Persons are very much interested, and we are happy that we are supporting this initiative. There's nothing like going in the backyard and pick up your own eggs I can tell you that. So I'm looking forward to see the production from everybody. I'm looking forward to see the persons continue production even after this strike. Last week we distributed to approximately 60 persons, but we also distributed to 15 secondary schools. The secondary schools, of course, received the bulk of the chicken that we distributed. And this week, I don't think we can keep up with demand. We have approximately 130 persons that we are distributing to this week, and we'll be doing this again next week. So those who did not get this week will be getting next week. Mostly the persons who are now registering, they will be getting next week. But we're still encouraging people to register, because if the initiative is successful, then it's something that we would want to continue.
The initiative also includes the distribution of seeds and seedlings to support local agriculture and food sustainability. Various individuals as well as educational institutions have already benefited from this initiative. Persons interested in receiving chickens are encouraged to register at the Zero Hunger Trust Fund office located at the NIS building in Kingstown. This initiative represents a critical step towards enhancing food security across St. Vincent and the Grenadines, with continued efforts to support local farmers and communities. Owia resident and opposition Senator Chevon John says the community is shaken following a tragic motor vehicle accident on Sunday night that resulted in the death of 19-year-old Nomani Duncan and the hospitalization of 3 others, all of whom are from Owia. In an interview with SVG-TV News, John shared that she arrived at the accident site shortly after it occurred and described it as a heartbreaking experience. The senator expressed her deep sorrow over the death of Duncan, who she described as having a bright future ahead of him.
I stayed there for about an hour or so until the doctor came. Number of people were there, and the doctor pronounced the young man, who was identified as Mr. Nomani Duncan from Owia, 19-year-old, as dead. His mother was there, his uncles and cousins, granny was there. So I was there to really give support to the family, who was in a state of shock. They were grieving. And, you know, this young man was he was full with life. He had life. He was well known. He will not pass you on the road straight. You know, he was just ready for the future. And it is so sad. You know, this has to take place. And I know the whole community is shaken. We are coming together to support the family and ensure that they get the help that they need during this time.
John says she has since visited the hospital to offer support to the grieving family as well as to those still hospitalized. She emphasized that the Owia community is struggling to come to terms with the tragedy and many are still in shock.
I am here really supporting the family, the village of Owia. We are just shaken, you know, and all of them are young men. So they're filled with life, and we just want to encourage the families. We just want to, you know, stay there and support even those who are there in the hospital at this time, because, you know, psychologically they will be affected. I was there at the accident site with the family, because everyone is closely knit. You know, we are all close. One is my neighbor. He's in critical condition. I've been there for them. I went to the hospital to visit all of them. I went individually, I spoke to families. I was actually supporting the family with who lost their loved ones. I was actually at the mortuary with them at the morgue when the autopsy was being done. I pray that the Lord.
Meanwhile, the opposition senator is urging drivers to exercise greater caution on the roads. With sailing set to take place over 9 days for SVG Sailing Week 2025, including the Beckway Easter Regatta, entrepreneur Kelly Glass, who participated in a panel discussion during the launch of Sailing Week at the Plantation Hotel in Beckway on Monday, highlighted the many advantages for the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Sailing Week, which runs from April 13th to April 21st, will showcase the destination as one of the top choices for sailing enthusiasts.
Beckway here, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, 32 islands, 32 miles, that's the catchphrase, is a fantastic destination. So you will hear Barbados and the Grenadines, you hear St. Lucia and the Grenadines, you hear Martinique and the Grenadines. We will let Grenada say the Grenadines, but the Grenadines is an internationally famous destination. And to an enthusiast in sailing, the Grenadines is on par with Lords to an enthusiast that supports cricket. Unquote. So we just have a great destination. And we have the time of year is a huge advantage. Easter is, it's the best destination. We've got wind, it's the end of the tourism season. I just wish it was this late every year. It's April is very late for Easter, so it's another big advantage.
Glass, who owns a marina, emphasized the far-reaching economic benefits of the event and suggested that yachts should be included in the sailing activities to further boost the local economy.
These guys out here, which are the cruisers, they own the boat, they're cruising around, they are to be included into the regatta as well. And they normally go in the cruiser racer class or cruising class. And then there's the traditional guys as well. And then there is the charter. I see Ian from Tradewinds up the back there. These guys, you spoke of how much a cruise ship person spends a day. I believe the numbers are 120 US per day per person. His boats carry 4 or 5, even 6 cabins. So let's do a 4-cabin, 8-people cruise on a normal yacht. 12 8s are 96. So that's 960 US dollars per day per boat they spend in our islands. So it's huge. I think and they need to be included into the regatta.
Meanwhile, Glass raised concerns about the noise from loud music after 10 p.m. on Beckway, which has been disturbing for many yachtsmen. He believes that a curfew should be enforced to limit loud music after this hour to ensure a peaceful environment for sailors.
The only complaint that I get from sailors and yachties here is music, which turns to become noise late at night. And Minister and the opposition, I firmly believe there should be a curfew of 10 p.m. because sound moves across the water. You have somebody in Hamilton pounding music, and at 10 o'clock, at 11 o'clock at night, it's traveling all the way to Lower Bay and it's going into Princess Margaret. And everybody, especially during Regatta, Minister, they're trying to get up at 6 a.m. to get the boat ready. They don't need music slamming in all night. So that's my only gripe.
Every year, Beckway attracts a large number of sailors during the Christmas season and New Year, as well as at Easter time. Rose Kay, founder of the Youth Sailing Club in Beckway, has reiterated the importance of ensuring the continuity of sailing as a sport, especially for young people. Kay, who established the Youth Sailing Club 9 years ago, welcomed the SVG Sailing Week initiative, which she believes complements her efforts in developing youth sailing in the country.
The launch is absolutely refreshing to know that the government and the SVG Sailing Association and all the Tourism Association is so keen to see that Beckway Regatta and all the sailing clubs in St. Vincent and Grenadines did not end, but bringing it back to life for the future. And this will not carry on if the youths of all the Grenadines and St. Vincent are not encouraged to join sailing clubs. You start very young and you build up the confidence, and you build up the ability and the skill. And from junior, you go into youth, and you go into double-ender. That's the stages. It's like primary school to secondary school to A-level. And if you don't encourage them to start young, there will be a break in the middle, because the older ones will get too old to carry on. There's no one in the middle to actually carry on their knowledge, and for the culture to continue for the generations to come.
Kay added that through her work with young people, she has witnessed both the benefits and growing interest in sailing, which keeps them positively occupied and engaged.
54 members, and we have boats, but obviously for that number we need more boats. I mean, we're doing every Saturday, and every Saturday we have at least 18 kids, 20 kids turn up. We have not got enough boat to carry all this, so we are trying to invest on new boats for kids to learn from an early age. That helps them to be confident. That helps them to be comradeship. That helps them to be team working together. They give them a way of talking to each other and with confidence, and it is fun. It makes it fun for them as well to see that it's joy, at the same time it's wonderful. They're learning a skill. There's